Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This time I wanted to do a bit of an overview of kind of how I use the keyboard and mouse to optimize gameplay and just some little tips and tricks to kind of help you guys out, help speed up your gameplay to really maximize what you can do. I I feel like some of these little things they're very overlooked. There's a lot of little things that you can do to really help yourself succeed. I mean, League of Legends requires a lot of little micromanagements. It can be there's a lot of little clicks and moves that you need to make in order to maximize your gameplay, and so I want to talk about some of those things. This is kind of a follow-up to my SmartCast video, but I'm going to go a little bit more in-depth. So kind of one of the biggest things that I want to say that I think is helpful is using your left hand to do as many things as possible and leaving your right hand to control movement and cursor. So for example, right now I'm at level 1 with Kale, and instead of, let's say I want to rank up my E at level 1, instead of clicking on this plus sign to rank up your E, it's important to learn the hotkey for that, which I have as Control E right there, and I just set up that, and now I ranked up my ability. And this is a really nice thing to do. So for example, if you are, let's say you're playing top lane and you want to go for like a level 2 cheesy all-in. So the first wave comes, you kill all the creeps. The second wave comes and you rush down the first creep in the second wave. And then you want to go super ham. Man, I'm really good at last hitting. So instead, if you take a split second to to go here, click on your Q, and then start attacking. There's wasted motion, there's wasted movement, there's wasted time, and you're going to end up, giving yourself maybe a split second less to get that damage on the all-in on your opponent. So instead, use Control and Q, W, E, or R to rank up your abilities. It's just a faster way to do it, and you can leave your right hand open to controlling other more important things like your positioning. If you want to auto attack, if you need to be moving. So right now, instead of clicking on this button to update my Divine Blessing, I'm going to hit Control W, and there I've got it. So we're good to go. That one's pretty basic. I feel like a lot of people probably know that one. Oh, that's cool. They have the new turret indicators. So that's pretty straightforward. So the next one that I wanted to talk about is I'm too busy trying to last hit very well. So next I want to talk about is self-cast. So this doesn't happen to every champion, but for those of you for champions that do have some sort of ability that you can cast upon yourself, this is very important. For Kale, this would be her W and her R. So instead of hitting W and then clicking on a champion, I actually have it set to SmartCast right now, or R and clicking on a champion. I believe the default is Alt and then the button, but I changed it to Shift just because that's a little easier for me to use. So if I want to heal myself quickly on the run, I'll hold down Shift, I'll press W, and I'm still good to go. I don't need to waste any movement or any time, clicking W and clicking on my champion. I can just go straight away and get that automatic self-movement speed boost. And this is really, really nice. So this would be champions like Lulu, Nidalee, Kale, any sort of champions that has a targeted, a heal or shield, Galio, something like that. And you can still apply this to your teammates, but if you ever want to apply it on yourself, it just makes that process very, very simple and straightforward, and it makes it very easy. So if I'm running away, I'm getting ganked, just going to hit, you see my cursor never left, I just hit Shift W. If for you guys it could be Alt W, whatever you're more comfortable with, whatever works for you. And that's going to allow you to be safer. And if you're playing like Nidalee or something like that, this can be such a life-saving trick. Because with Nidalee, you have a lot of little micromanagements. You're constantly trying to, switch between cougar and human form. And so, this is even just going to make that process one step easier with your right hand because you don't have to worry so much about what you're doing with your positioning. Let's see here. What else is there to talk about? Let's check this out. So, okay, this is another thing to check out here. Now, in terms of SmartCast, I quickcast everything except for my button number 4. That's the only thing that I leave open. I SmartCast summoner spells, abilities. I SmartCast activatable items. Let's take a look here. Actually, it looks like this got messed up. But I do like to quickcast all my items. Oh, I'm getting all messed up here. There we go. That's looking very good. Quick casting your items can be really, really beneficial if you're doing using like Blade of the Ruin King. That can be really nice. So I really like to quick cast all of my items. Camera control. This is a big one. So this spacebar right here, I think, is one of the most important things to know in the game of League of Legends. So if you're somebody who usually uses the camera lock, so like if you press Y, my left hand is off, and all I'm doing is just running around with my right click. I would say that this is probably a very inefficient way to do it, and it can end up causing you some problems. So the biggest thing that I found with this is, so like right now, let's say that I end up getting ganked from the bottom. Like let's say they come from right here. I can't actually see that. Like I have no vision. Like I can't actually see this from right here. But for example, like ideally, I would like, if I'm playing mid lane, you know, why wouldn't you keep your camera right here so I can see both top and bottom? You know, I've got plenty of, you know, vision of the front of the lane for my lane opponent. You know, why not give yourself the opportunity? You know, if I want to reset it, I can always hit spacebar. That's the big point that I'm trying to make here. That using your spacebar, I'm gonna take that tower shot like a boss. Using that spacebar button to really give yourself control over your camera instead of the camera auto lock, I think can be really beneficial. And it's one of those things that takes some getting used to. But I really think that it is worthwhile. It's because like right now I have no vision of what's going on beneath me. But if I'm here, you know, you don't need to keep your player in the center of your screen. You can keep them at, you know, a corner of the screen, or if let's say if I'm in bottom lane, you know, there's no sense locking the camera here. Why wouldn't you, you know, you get the full vision of your lane. You know, the same thing right here. You get the full vision of your lane. And then when you get the camera to a good place, you can just leave it. And then when you want to pick it up again, you can hold spacebar. It's very fluid. It's very intuitive. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but I think it really is helpful for kind of improving your map awareness. So using spacebar is really, really nice. And just starting to get used to that is really helpful. I would very much recommend it. If you use camera lock, just give it a try. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, and it'll probably be annoying. But I do think that it's worthwhile. Let's see here. And then I think... Oh, and then the last one that I want to talk about is... Oh, I get it. That's what happened. So it changed. Yeah, I actually haven't even looked at this. So it changed from here. I changed it back to here. Okay, so I do want here. So with items, the only difference that I make is on slot 4, I leave that on normal cast. And let's go ahead and recall, and I'll show you why. So the big reason that I leave normal cast only on slot 4 is because slot 4 is where I buy wards. So let's say that I'm returning to lane, and I buy a couple of wards. Going to hit Shift W to speed myself up. Going to watch my lane. Going to watch other lanes, because I don't need to watch myself run back. There's no reason. I'm just going to check out how the other lanes are doing. Hold spacebar to check back on myself. Run back to lane. So I always place my wards on slot 4, just because I've gotten accustomed to that. And the nice thing about leaving wards on normal cast is if you hit 4, you get this nice little range indicator, and these juicy minions need to die. Look at that. Beautiful Kale farming. Going to hit Shift W to heal myself. Very nice. Good job, Kale. So when I hit 4, I get a little range indicator, and watch this. So if I stand right here, if I stand right here and I hit 4, it goes from blue to green. Blue to green. A nice little trick. And especially if you're placing like some tricky jungle wards, like one of the most tricky wards, I guess, to really get perfectly is this blue circle ward, or C-shaped ward. And the big key here is that if you place the ward here, you're not going to get vision of the blue buff. If you place the ward here, you're not going to get vision of this side of the lane. So what you want to do is place the ward right here in this very tip of the corner, so you get vision of both. So when you walk over, if you hit 4, you get the range indicator, and if you see blue, 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 green, then you know you're good. And see, look at that. I'm going to run away, and you get nice vision of everything. The blue buff, this side of the lane, this side of the lane, this side of the brush, as opposed to if you put the ward elsewhere, you're not going to get the same effect. So when you hit 4, you can tell when it goes from blue to green, then you know you're in the brush. And if you're trying to land like some other trickier wards, like let's say you want to get this ward over the wall, if you hit 4, you can see it's on green. There it went to blue, back to green. You never want it to be on blue. See, if I put it here, it's not even in the brush. See, and that's a simple mistake that you could have easily made, and now that's a worthless ward. Or maybe it's giving me like partial vision. I'm not really sure. But basically, the idea is that the only thing that I don't recommend smart casting on is placing wards, because you know, you really want to get that range indicator to help you out. But other than that, I think that's about it. So let's kind of review. Smart cast everything except your wards, and I always like to keep my wards on the same button because it just makes it very, very simple. Using Alt, or in my case I use Shift to self-cast abilities, especially on champions that very much rely on, you know, targeted abilities like kill. If I need to ult myself right in the middle of battle, you know, just that split second that it would take to hit R and then click on myself is the split second where you could possibly die or get CC'd. But if you just hit Shift R, Shift W, I'm immediately ulted and I'm speeded up and I can run away. I can't tell you guys how many times that has saved my life. I really, really strongly think that that is something that can improve your gameplay if you've never considered it. So using that self-cast ability is really, really beneficial. And then the camera lock is really also something that I very much would recommend. I mean, and you can hold the spacebar button to keep the camera on yourself, because certainly there are times, especially like during complicated team fights, when I really do feel like it is beneficial to have the camera on yourself. But you know, during laning, for the most part, I would say it's beneficial to not have the camera on yourself. So keep that in mind. You know, try to enact these little tips to your gameplay, because I really do think that it can help. And the biggest thing here is you want to go for speed. You know, you never want, you know, League of Legends is a very quick, fast-moving game. You know, things happen very quickly. You don't get a lot of reaction time. And, you know, even like with something like this, you know, using this like the self-cast with your keyboard, if you get really accustomed to it, you can do really cool plays. Like if you can see like the Sona ult coming in, or you can see her flash in, and then you can immediately, you know, ult yourself and keep yourself alive. You can you know, get this ult off or get some of these spells off, you know, mid-cast when the enemy spells are coming at you. You know, little things like that are the things that can keep you alive. And ultimately possibly win you the game. So I really do think that this is something you guys should consider, and I really think that it can, you know, help your gameplay out. So that's kind of the follow-up to my SmartCast tutorial. This is more going on keyboard mechanics, using little things like this to help improve your gameplay and become a better player. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think. And I recommend you try these things out. As with anything, like a mechanics change can really goof with you. You know, like changing in mechanics or sensitivity is always something that can really mess with a player. So you got to give it some time. Give it some time to kind of sink in and become, you know, second nature. But I guarantee you, if you play like a couple of Dominion games with a champion like Kale or Nidalee, you know, the self-casting becomes second nature. The camera lock will become second nature, and I guarantee you guys will have more success. Looks like those minions are doing work in the bot lane. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.